December 24th, 2020, and we are discussing this morning this bombshell reporting that came out of the Atlantic yesterday about the coup that Donald Trump is planning to bypass the outcome of the election should it appear that Joe Biden is the winner. So this is, of course, extremely troubling news. That it's not just his all-out assault on the election that we've been witnessing for months, and it has been an all-out assault on the election. Donald Trump has been attempting to sow doubt about the legitimacy of mail-in ballots, despite the fact that the studies about mail-in balloting have been done. Mail-in ballot fraud is virtually non-existent. But he has been throwing everything he has at that for some time. He has been trying to interrupt the U.S. Postal Service, which is going to be heavily relied upon in this election because of the coronavirus pandemic, which, as we know, has claimed 200,000 American lives. And because people will be using mail-in ballots and absentee balloting in heavier this year than in previous election cycles, he has been trying to slow down the U.S. Postal Service to varying degrees of success. He's been trying to recruit law enforcement to act as poll watchers, which is yet another sign of authoritarianism. Cullen is saying, just watching unfit, give that a watch. I'm worried for America. I think a lot of people are worried for America this morning. We are talking about this bombshell reporting at the Atlantic that Donald Trump is staging a coup to bypass the election results if Joe Biden is the winner, and we will talk about how it might be possible that he does that. But I think it's very important to be ringing the alarms about this, regardless of your political affiliation or political ideology. This is very troubling authoritarian style tactics that could really seriously affect our democracy for a very long time. So in addition to the law enforcement serving as poll watchers, he has been flirting with delaying the election. He has suggested that maybe it should be postponed. He's openly stated he won't accept any results that he doesn't like. He said yesterday during a press conference, Donald Trump, when asked whether he would commit to a peaceful transition of power, Donald Trump refused to commit to that. He said again, this is a quote that he's repeated many times, we're going to have to see what happens. You'll recall that's what he said during the 2016 presidential election debates against Hillary Clinton. We're going to have to see what happens, he said to the reporter, quote, I've been complaining about the ballots, and the ballots are a disaster. He has repeatedly expressed doubts about the election infrastructure in the United States. And there have been, again, numerous studies that have shown that voter fraud is simply not a thing. Cheeseburger Eddie says Donald Trump needs to be removed. I honestly don't believe he's joking about 12 more years. This dude literally wants to be a dictator in America. You can just see it in his actions and words. He won't give up power. I think that's the alarming truth, actually. Yes, you're right. I think when people listen to him speak, they sometimes think he's being hyperbolic, but with this all-out assault on the election infrastructure, on mail-in balloting, on the peaceful transition of power, which is a foundational constitutional guarantee that ensures our democracy is protected. This assault is extremely authoritarian, fascistic behavior and actions. Hero Fishing says he keeps praising other dictators. Pope Xanthus says, with all the wolf crying the media has done for the past 4 years, how do you get through to someone that this is more serious? I'm not sure what wolf crying. I don't know if it's wolf crying. I think what the reality is that people are numb because this presidency and this administration in the past 4 years have been a constant bombardment of scandal and corruption, and I think it might be that people are more numb to it, and it sounds outrageous to say out loud that the Trump administration is staging a coup to steal the American election. And when you say it out loud, of course, it sounds outrageous because we're not programmed to believe that this kind of fascistic, authoritarian tactic could happen in the United States. So Cullen says International News reported today that he said, let's wait and see. Yes, that's what we were talking about, this press conference yesterday. A reporter asked him whether he would commit to a peaceful transfer of power, and he said he refused to commit to it. Cullen, if he refuses to transfer power, do you think we could be looking at civil war with citizens bringing guns onto the streets? Let's get into that in just a second, because I think although that we are ringing alarms about this, I think there are important things to note. Joe Biden has a press spokesperson who said shortly after the same statement that Trump was making in July about waiting to see about the outcome of the election, Andrew Bates, who was a Joe Biden campaign spokesperson, said, quote, the American people will decide this election, and the United States government is perfectly capable of escorting trespassers out of the White House. So that Adam Schiff, of course, that's a great response, I've got to say. Congressman Adam Schiff from California, is saying, quote, this is how democracy dies. A president so desperate to cling to power that he won't commit to a peaceful transition of power, that he seeks to throw out millions of votes and a Republican Party too craven to say a word. But we will fight back. America belongs to the people. There aren't just Democrats speaking out against this. Senator Mitt Romney, who was the sole Republican vote to convict Donald Trump in his impeachment hearings in the Senate this January, though I'll note Mitt Romney is now saying that he will vote to confirm Donald Trump's Supreme Court nominee, but that's neither here nor there. Mitt Romney has said that, quote, fundamental to democracy is the peaceful transition of power. Without that, there is Belarus, he tweeted in reference to this post-election tumult. Now, what people are really concerned about is the period of time between the election and the inauguration. I think that is where we're going to see a lot of this come to head and what people should be prepared for. Donald Trump is already projecting that he intends to challenge the outcome of the election. He's also projected that he wishes to secrete a Supreme Court justice before the election because the election may go to the Supreme Court, or so he says. I don't know if Donald Trump is aware of anything about legal jurisprudence or the way anything works, but he says. And so he's anticipating a Supreme Court fight over his election, which means he's challenging that he's projecting that he's going to challenge the outcome of the election right now, regardless of what happens on election night. Now, because we know that Democrats are more likely to vote by mail, because we know that Republicans are less likely to vote by mail because of this assault on vote by mail by the Republican president, we also know that Republicans are likely to not turn out with vote by mail because of that, and maybe not show up to the polls. So we know that the House Minority Leader McCarthy is very, very nervous about this and has warned Donald Trump that this could be a problem. Now, what is going to happen is it might appear on election night that Donald Trump has won the election with regards to the early vote, the in-person vote. It might. And so he will declare victory without millions of ballots being cast. Now, of course, the scenario that seems more likely is that Joe Biden will win when mail-in ballots are counted over the next few days. So Donald Trump is going to then cast doubt over the election outcome. He's going to say, well, how could it be possible that they named me the winner on election night and now all these phony mail-in ballots are coming in? And he's going to challenge those mail-in ballots. And we have until Inauguration Day for those challenges to sort themselves out in the courts. So what we are very worried about is this reporting in The Atlantic yesterday that really is talking about how Donald Trump is planning on stealing the election, staging a coup to steal the election with the Electoral College, in the Electoral College. So this is the way that this will work. So Trump uses his baseless claims of fraud and asks GOP-controlled state governments to choose electors, completely ignoring if the popular vote went his way or whether there was an unfavorable outcome for him. So state and national Republican sources are reporting this to the Atlantic reporter Barton Gellman, so that the state legislatures will say, all right, quote, all right, we've been given this constitutional power, a Trump campaign legal advisor explains to the Atlantic. We don't think the results of our own states are accurate, so here's our slate of electors that we think properly reflects the result of our states. So state legislatures will appoint electors that will cast their electoral college votes in discrepancy with what the state's outcome was, because they are saying that it doesn't look like it lines up with this supposed victory that Donald Trump is going to claim on election night. Mark Goldman says, I thought that Republicans were the staunch defenders of democracy. What happened? It appears that Republicans are the staunch defenders of their own power. This is brazen power grab, and this is so troubling. This is ringing the alarms. This is not about party affiliation or party politics or political ideology or political affiliation anymore. This is about a brazen power grab by a person and a party unwilling to challenge him. Cheeseburger says, no matter who wins, there will be people protesting it. I think that may be true. He believes that we will have two different election winners. This is going to be the craziest, most untrusted election ever. I think there's no reason to distrust the outcome of the election that is reported. I think that there's no reason to distrust the counts that come in. I think the things that people need to be looking for are whether votes are suppressed, whether people are purged from voter rolls, and there's no reason to distrust the counts. I think it's very likely that Donald Trump will try to cast doubts over the legitimacy of the election, which is very bad for democracy. Matt Gerard says, I love hearing your conspiracy theories. LOL, this is well-reported fact, and it's that kind of mentality that threatens democracy. Jack Berry says, despite McConnell's statement, Republican leadership will absolutely cave and buy into his tyranny. That much is clear. The Republican Party will not stand up to Donald Trump. If they wanted to do that, they would have voted to convict him in his impeachment hearing this January, and they didn't. And I think they knew in January that he had participated in multiple egregious acts of impeachable offenses, and they failed to show up because they wanted to hold on to their power. We've become so partisan and so polarized that it's too unthinkable for some Republicans in power to have a Democrat step in and be in charge. Mikey Abozo, for some, the wrong president was in the balcony. Some still miss Lincoln. Okay, yeah, I don't know. I wasn't around back then, but a great president. Trumpers joining in, and I'll note that a lot of trolling happening online by Russian botnets. It's alive and well. Call me a conspiracy theorist. It's alive and well, and very important that people combat the Russian misinformation campaign, because they target Americans and they target Western progressive media figures to try to repeat their talking points. So you think the Republicans are afraid of Trump or just biting their tongue for money and power? I think it's both. I think it's a brazen power grab, but I also think that many of the Republican senators particularly don't even like Donald Trump, and I think that there's some reporting to indicate as such, but they are scared to speak out against the cult of Trump for fear of being, lambasted and blown up on Twitter by folks like Mick Smashams and Matt Gerard at Hot Pockets 3. That I think they're afraid, but I'm not. So this has been the AM Report with Alex Mahajer for Haps News, the network of Now. We are live every weekday morning at 7:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Eastern, with all of your quick political news and headlines to get your day started right. If you like this content, if you like this journalism, and if you're not Vladimir Putin, give me a visit at haps.tv/@AlexMahajer and consider sponsoring this content. It's been lovely this morning.